Thank you, thank you. Well, hi everybody, welcome, welcome. Thank you for having me. I love that I have a BC connection. I can't help it, I love it. I'm Rania Mancario, CEO of Crime Stoppers of Houston. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, if you can't, just do this and I'll know to speak up. And I'll very quickly, I have to give you like 5 minutes overview on the organization because I'm sure a lot of you don't know exactly what we do. Also, Jordan Seff's on our board. So if you see Jordan Seff through the hallways, you got to tell her, she gave a good overview of Crime Stoppers of Houston. We are the largest Crime Stoppers. There's 1,700 Crime Stoppers organizations spanning 35 different countries. Houston's is the largest in the world for many reasons. One, we are the only one with this headquarters, which we're very, very proud to have. It was a difficult task to get built, and we got it built. Our mission, though, is to solve and prevent crime like most other Crime Stoppers, and we do that through an array of programming. For the longest time, the idea was, okay, you want to solve and prevent crime. If you're looking for John Smith who killed somebody, and you find John Smith, then you've solved a crime, and you've prevented a crime because John Smith's not out to reoffend. Okay, well, that's true to some degree, but we saw prevention as having value in education. So we have a solving side, tip line, we have a Fallen Hero project, but our prevention side is really where I think we thrive. We have a Safe Community Institute, a Safe School Institute, and Leading Women for Public Safety. I'll quickly go through what they are. Tip line, everybody I'm sure has heard of it. If you watch the news for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, now crime is everywhere, 2 minutes, you're gonna hear this tip line be announced. It's open 24 hours a day. They get about 1,800 to 2,500 calls a month. Those calls are answered by seasoned law enforcement investigators, usually through Houston Police Department. And that tip line's done incredible things. It solved about 37,000 felony cases in the Houston area, and we're just about 5,000 short of paying $13 million in cash rewards. Now, an example of a case is one, this little girl is the one I always share because it speaks to me. Ava Castillo was shot and killed during the robbery of her mother. Her mom was unloading groceries, and her mom was robbed. Ava was killed. We solved this case, and we counted it as one of those 37,000 cases. 3 boys were arrested in this robbery and murder, all juveniles, which is a conversation for another day, but 10 other cases were cleared. So when we cut the ribbon on that building, that first slide, we had an elected official from Austin come in, and he's driving in, and it was a cold day in January, and he said, Rania, I'm looking through the paperwork you sent me because I'm going to speak, and it said, this was about 3 years ago, it said you've solved it. It says you've solved 32,000 cases. How are you counting that? And I said, sir, you know exactly how we count it. When we solve a case, we work with the police department, we work with the DA, we count the case. He goes, but what about all the other cases cleared? And I said, okay, well, we're a small team. There's no way we can count all the other cases cleared. He said, okay, but I want you to know as far as the state is concerned, your organization's probably solved somewhere between 150 to 300,000 cases, which was very, very uplifting. People will say your tip line's great, 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 great. I'm never gonna call your tip line. I get it. I'm probably never gonna call my tip line, the Crime Stoppers tip line, but the impact of the tip line affects all of our lives. If you run, go to the park, run errands, send your kids on field trips, play games, go to work meetings, go shopping, anywhere where you see one of these dots, this is as of 2020, we haven't updated it in some time, where we've found a wanted felon, because we work with felony cases, or the location of where a violent crime has taken place. In addition to our tip line, we have a Safe Schools Institute. I'm very, very passionate about this. The Safe School Institute has a whole host of presentations. We speak to students, kindergarten through 12th grade, always free, on every trend imaginable. And I'll tell you right now, your kids today, my 3 girls, are not being raised in a world that looks even remotely similar to the world you and I were raised in. It just doesn't. It doesn't. So we touch every topic that's trending for children and present safety in an age-appropriate manner. We also speak to the school staff. That Safe School Institute's reached we're now at about 1.5 million kids, but most importantly, and the reason the governor asked us to spread this program, is we've removed 283 weapons from Houston area schools before there could ever be a violent situation. So we're very, very proud of it. Yes, the governor asked us to train the state, and we're in the middle of doing that. We have a Safe Community program that basically goes into the community, all parts of the community, talks about every latest crime trend, and make sure the community is well equipped to stay safe. So that has under that umbrella is a Safe Community Program, Victim Services, the Balanced Voice podcast, and our research center. That Safe Community Institute, now people are coming in from all over the country and into Europe to take part of our presentations. Our podcast has reached the attention of a lot of interesting people, and we've had very, very fascinating local and national guests on the podcast. So we are your neighborhood public safety nonprofit. We're the largest of our kind, and we'd love for you to feel connected to what we do and know what we do. But today, I want to focus on online safety and talk to you about why Crime Stoppers focuses on it and why I ended up writing a book on it. My goal today is to keep your kids safe online. My goal today is not to tell you stuff you want to hear only. You may not like everything I'm going to tell you, but my goal today is for you to walk out of here and say, I don't know if I 100% agree with it, but I actually get it, and I think my kids will get it. Because my objective is that starting tonight, starting this very moment, they're as safe as they can be. So where did this sort of desire to do this come from? Anyone here listen to Rula and Ryan in the morning? Everybody's so shy about it, but I'm going to tell you something. We can be on ABC, Fox, CBS, NBC, and people say, oh, were you on? But then we'll do Rula and Ryan, and I won't go through the day where people aren't like, oh, I heard you on Rula and Ryan. Oh, I heard you on Rula and Ryan. But when I do these presentations and I ask, people are like, everybody I think listens. Anyway, this was Rula, and this is Ryan, and that's Special K walking off the little stage that we had set up. They were our special guests for this presentation we did for fourth grade students. How old are fourth graders? 9, okay? We had all the ninth grade classes together in one room. This was like, I guess, their cafeteria. I took this picture. I'm in the back of the room. You had some parents to the left or on the right. Rula and Ryan had their script. How many of you kids are on Facebook? No, that's where parents are. So boring. We're like, okay, all right. How many of you are on Instagram? Woohoo. How many of you are on Snapchat? Woohoo. I waited for this question because we gave them the script. How many of you are on Kik? Almost every hand went up. By the way, we didn't ask how many of you have a phone. We didn't ask that question. We never ask that question because it doesn't matter. We asked how many of you are on Kik. I took the picture. I was fascinated by 1, the number of hands. 2, do you remember being in school? Like, yeah, that's me, but my elbow's like kind of But yeah, that's me. Like there's like even a straightness to the elbow. Like I identify. You could even pick me. We'll talk about it. Not only was there a sea of arms, but they were so straight. And then I looked to the left and right of the room, and the parents were like, what is Kik? That's so fun. What is Kik? Are they kickboxing? That's so fun. What is Kik? At the time, this was 2015, Kik was one of the most dangerous social media platforms you could be on. And most of these kids were on it, and parents had no idea what it was. So it dawned on me, our kids are being raised in a totally different world than we're in. We don't even know what their world looks like. Now, Kik lost popularity, but recently, this is from 2013, ABC story, Spring Man arrested 94 images of pornography, all through Kik, kids as young as 8 years old. So Kik is gaining in popularity again. It's a social media-ish type of platform. Anything goes on Kik. You can talk to anyone, anywhere, about anything, using any format you'd like to use. Now I start to look at some other things. Who here can, raise your hand if you can tell me what any of these things, pick one and just tell me what it means. Okay.
No.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna like, okay, wait, go ahead, you're first.
Oh, Finsta is not like fake Instagram, it's just like your alternative Instagram profile that you use for different purposes than your main one.
Yes, Finsta is fake Instagram. You had?
ASL is age, sex, location.
Yeah, you're the only one that's ever gotten that. Okay, well, you can't raise your hand. Okay. ASL is age, sex, location.
The one at the bottom, the one that says bussin', that's like a terminology they use to say that that's great.
Yes, cool. Yeah. It's bussin'.
Well, you know.
And I believe thirst trap is when you post pictures wanting to solicit some positive reaction or some type of reaction.
You want to entice people.
It's usually an enticing photo.
I always say I am not a thirst trap, okay? That's like the opposite. But yes, it's like a suggestive link or photo that really gets you thirsty for more, and it's usually inappropriate. ASL, you said age, sex, location. KMS is kill myself. Any of these? The pasta? Oh, were you going to say Snapstreak?
Well, that's CAP, is that the one?
Okay, do you know what that means? You put your hand up. That's my daughter that I'm telling. Put your hand up.
I know Snapstreak.
Yes. What'd you say? Yes. Do you want to come to all of my presentations?
Wait, what is it?
It's lying. Like, I'm lying, that's a lie, or no lie.
Alternative is like no cap means I'm not lying, like for real.
Wow.
I'm going to give you my card after. Okay, this spaghetti noodles is for nudes. That's talking about nudes. These are usually talking about body parts. I'll just leave it at that, or an array of body parts. These, any one of these? Yes. Looking for drugs?
Boss, though.
Yep, all three of them, looking for drugs. And this means I'm on something, okay? I'm gassed up. Snap streak is just something you'll hear kids talk about. They want to maintain a snap streak, like engagement back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which we feel like can create problems. So not only did I realize that kids are being raised in a different world, parents, most of the parents in the room, if not all, had no idea what they were even talking about. They're speaking a different language. They're speaking a different language. So we want to deal with reality and find some solutions. So Crime Stoppers does a lot in this area. We have student presentations, as I said, specific to this, staff, parent presentations, all specific to this topic. But I sat down and wrote a book on it. And today I want to talk to you about the findings of my book. So in the book, big picture, family plans, family myths, exercises, brain science, physical development. Why do we do what we do, or kids do what we do? What does the online world really look like? Do kids really connect? Some golden rules. I'm always asked, when do you get a child a phone? How do you talk to kids about certain things? When I was writing the book, there were 2.2 million apps in the App Store, 3.8 million in Google Play. If you want to tell me you're going to be on top of everything your child's doing, you are a miracle worker. And please talk to me after. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. And then I'm going to share, again, my goal is to keep kids safe. So 4 power tools that I believe will get kids to change their behaviors starting as young as 8 and bring them into the online space safely. The foundation for my approach is I do not believe you can completely keep kids off technology. And by the way, I don't think you should try for that. There have to be healthy balances. We have to know what's going on. We have to be realistic. But when I talk to other experts and they say, no, you're wrong. All elementary school kids for sure shouldn't touch technology. I'm sorry, that's not the real world. It's just not. It's not. But here's some truths. Parents versus kids versus technology is not a fair fight, and your kids will win maybe not with you, sir, but but your kids will win every time.
They're digital natives.
They're digital natives. They know what they're doing, and as much as we think we know, we really don't. But here's the other rule. Predators versus kids versus technology is also not a fair fight, and predators will win every time. So, or for the most part. So we want to be talking to our kids from a young age. I believe if we get their engagement, and this is going to sound so strange, and I know this, but almost co-parent with them in this space, meaning get their buy-in, not no because I said so, because it's not going to work. We can find that we'll raise kids that will make very smart and healthy choices online. So goals today, we're going to pick big picture, family plan, realities, risks and consequences, and my 4 power tools. I'm going to say that as you tackle this as a family, whatever your family picture looks like, I believe you should have a conversation of how you want to tackle online safety. And when I say online safety, I mean gaming, social media, digital apps, texting. I mean all of it. I mean all of it. God bless you. How do you as a family want to tackle this? And that's going to require conversations about your values, your beliefs, what you expect, what you want, and that conversation is going to change over time. Not only do you and your partner, spouse, whomever, have to have an idea of how you want to do this, because listen, we do this with school. A lot of you made very conscious decisions to send your children here. You studied, you looked, and you realized this is the best place for your kids, and you made a great choice. You moved to a certain neighborhood. You have very conscious decisions about where you want to raise your children, what city, what neighborhood, etc. But when it comes to online stuff, we kind of feel like, I don't know how to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. It's weird. Or, okay, I lock my kids in a car every 6 months and have a conversation, and they can't get out of the car, and that's the only way we talk about it. No, it needs to be a constant conversation based on your family values. Now, I will add, once you have an idea of what you and your partner, whomever, leader, whatever, decide for your family, it's important to tell the other people with your kids. Because I had one family that said, listen, Rania, my spouse and I completely agreed. We have an 11-year-old, and we do not want her dancing on TikTok. And she agreed, we don't want her on TikTok. Little did we know that the babysitter every Friday night is dancing with her on TikTok. So you got to expand the conversation to the other the leadership team in the house. Now, as you have this conversation, I bet you're going to uncover myths that you have as a family. Here were the biggest myths I uncovered as I was doing my research. Parents, they kept telling me, well, I know my solution is I'm going to keep them offline. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? They say, well, I'm not going to get them a phone. I said, okay. I'm going to go back to that in a second. But not getting them a phone has absolutely nothing to do with keeping them offline. Nothing. It literally has nothing to do with it. Parents and kids said, but you know, at the end of the day, we think nothing that bad can really happen to me. And kids said, you know, I think social media platforms are going to protect me to some level. I mean, I think they have to. Well, let's look at this. I'll keep them safe by keeping them offline. Again, I'm going to keep saying this. I do not believe it's totally possible. Before COVID, 77% were online. We know that number is closer to 95% right now. And we know that they hide what they're doing. Those are pre-COVID numbers at 70%. Nothing that bad can ever really happen to me is completely a farce. Dr. Laura Berman and Sam Chapman, do the names ring a bell to you? Dr. Laura Berman is a famous relationship therapist, very, very famous, Oprah famous, Dr. Phil famous, 8 times New York Times bestselling author famous. She and her husband, Sam Chapman, were living in California during lockdowns, COVID lockdowns. The lockdowns in California looked very, very different than the lockdowns in Texas, okay? They were like locked down in California. 2 Februarys ago, Super Bowl Sunday, she had 2 of her boys in the house. She's a mom of 3 boys, and she's very engaged with her family. Laura and Sam are excellent, incredible parents, super engaged with their kids. She told her middle son, Sammy, and her younger son, I'm going to go get burgers. We're going to come back. We're going to watch the game. They said, great. Sammy said, Mom, when you come back, I want to show you. I found a summer internship that I want to do, and I'm really excited. She said, great. They went and got burgers, came back in. Dad, Sam Chapman, go run up, get Sammy. He went upstairs, opened the door. Sammy was dead on the floor in his room. Why was Sammy dead on the floor in his room? Sammy, who had found the internship, lives in a great home, has every opportunity that his parents know everyone can open every door, because Sammy did what so many young kids are doing today on Snapchat, see an ad, oh, do you want Percocet, Xanax, Adderall, Tylenol, drugs, sent to your house, 15 cents, no one will ever know. Try it, nothing's going to happen. And he bought something, and actually there's some discussion that it was sent to him for free, and it was laced with fentanyl, and he died instantly. I met Laura Berman writing the book. They actually wrote the foreword of the book, and she kept saying, I never thought anything that bad could ever happen. I never thought there were drug dealers, traffickers online looking for children. It just never occurred to me. I find this girl's story fascinating. I pull a screenshot of her main page of her TikTok because, one, she's always in an oversized sweatshirt. She's not like dancing in a bikini, but she has 1.2 million followers, almost 58 million likes. Florida teen, super engaged. I don't know if you can see it, but she's very normal online. Comparing yourself to other girls is probably the most hurtful thing. Here she's crying hysterically. This one, she's like looking off to the side, the music's playing, then the beat drops and she stares right into the camera and says, this is how you engage with your audience. I mean, she's brilliant online. She knew how to engage. Well, she developed a stalker, and he spent time figuring out her community, figuring out her community, figuring out her community. Eventually, he showed up at her home in Florida with the intent to kill her. What ended up saving her life was her dad was a retired New Jersey police officer, but the 18-year-old boy ended up losing his life. The stalker. You heard them on interviews saying, we just never thought anything that bad. She has so many people like this girl. New trend. This is a big problem. I've gotten calls from more schools and more families, and I don't think I've ever had a reaction to a trend like this one. Boys who are gaming. By the way, the average gamer in America is 35 years old. So when your young boys are gaming, and it's usually boys, and they think they're gaming with somebody who's 12 like them or 11 like them, it's not often the case. But this is huge. What's happening is boys are gaming, and they're talking to the person they're gaming with, and the person says, hey, Jimmy, send me a picture. What do you look like right now? But don't send anything weird. Don't be weird. So Jimmy's like, yeah, I'll take a picture. That's how our kids communicate. They take pictures. Jimmy takes a snap, sends it. Well, the person he's talking to within about 45 minutes will manipulate that picture into something highly pornographic and then start blackmailing little Jimmy, who doesn't know what to do because he has, in fact, been talking to this person. He's been playing with this person for a long time, and he did, in fact, send him a picture. I have had more calls on this, honestly, than anything I've ever seen. So as we talk about it, now more boys are actually reporting immediately to the FBI because they know what to do. And instead of feeling fear, panic, shame, guilt, what did I do wrong, they say, no, I know I didn't do anything wrong, and I know exactly what to do. That myth, well, I think social media platforms are going to protect me. This is a Wall Street Journal study, which I found fascinating. They created a 13-year-old bot, a fake account that looked for OnlyFans. Everybody here familiar with OnlyFans? Okay, it's a thirst trap central place. I mean, people go on OnlyFans. You can pay to see or get exposed to whatever your fetish is, whatever it might be. So it's pretty suggestive. Well, the 13-year-old searched for OnlyFans. 13. TikTok on its For You page, this is the page that TikTok sends you what it thinks you want to see, sent this 13-year-old 569 videos on drugs and over 100 videos on pornography. When the Wall Street Journal went back to TikTok, they said, we're not parents. We give the eyeballs, the users, what they want to see. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Additional myths. I love when kids say, well, I deserve online privacy. My answer to that is, no, you absolutely do not. If you want privacy, get a diary from 1985. Write whatever you want in it and hide it under your bed and go for it. But when you're on the World Wide Web talking to who knows whom about who knows what, you have no expectation of privacy. You just don't. And then will kids say, but you guys over-exaggerate and I can handle whatever I'm seeing. They can't, and we'll show you why in a second. So let's go back into realities. Are all kids exposed? I believe that they are. They potentially are exposed to anyone and anything. How? Not through phones. If we're thinking that the phones are the gateway to technology exposure, we've completely misinformed ourselves. Yes, phones are a gateway, but a lot of times parents will say, oh, I'm not getting my daughter a phone until 7th grade. I say, okay. I'm just curious. Does she have an iPad? Oh, yeah, I got her that in 1st grade. Okay. Does your son, who you're not going to give a phone to, does he have a gaming console? Oh, yeah, he's got that early elementary. Well, do we know that's the #1 way boys access pornography? So
Gaming console. Yeah.
they get onto the internet. So not only is it a phone and an iPad, but it's a friend's phone and a friend's iPad. It's the family computer. Not always, but it can be a school computer. A few years ago, the Chromebooks given out in some public school districts that had all the settings on them, kids discovered, if you go into the search bar and type in punctuation, not a word, not periods, /, exclamation point, number sign, money sign, whatever, it took you to the dark web immediately.
Wow.
So maybe they don't have a computer at home. Their parents are trying to keep technology out of their lives. They think the school device is perfectly safe. Well, kids had a way around it. this is just a few of the ways kids can access technology. And then they get exposure because they're purposefully looking for it. They pick up somebody else's gadget. They see what's there. It's completely unintended. They're doing a search. I'll show you what happened to me. I was playing a blocks game, like a Tetris for kids. This is the ad that came up for me. Secretary, approached by boss, can you watch my kids tonight? Can you babysit? She says, oh yeah, let me get dressed for babysitting. This is what she chose for babysitting. He walks in, very impressed with her skills, and then wants to reward her. And this is Boss Man, if anyone's interested in Boss Man. So that's exposure. This was a blocks game for young kids. An elementary school child, a middle school, very easily be playing this game. There was another whole series of ads that I screenshot, and I'm actually too embarrassed to show them. So I took them out of my presentation. Exposure comes. Huh? Oh my gosh, I took them out. Like literally, it had shower scenes. Like I was dying. And I'll have some parents that say, well, how do I not have them see the ads? Well, you could buy every game. I don't know, every family's different. Maybe you can buy every game, but that's a lot for a kid that plays a game for a week and then no longer wants to play the game. Looking further into reality, parents who say no to Instagram, that's fine. Kids are on Pinterest, that's the new Instagram, which is really interesting. We've had parents that say, well, I don't even allow my kids to text. I say, well, your kids are on WhatsApp. They can be talking to anybody about anything at any time. You say no to a phone, they're using other people's phones. They are. And then we share, right? And I don't blame anyone for this at all. But we get in the habit of sharing our beautiful kids. 92% have an online presence by the time they're 2. And we share everything. And then they're in 5th grade and want technology. And we're like, no, you absolutely can't touch it. Can't touch it. But we've been pushing them out in the world. And again, I don't blame anyone for this. Although I do talk a bit about, do we need to put every piece of information? Favorite teacher, favorite sport. She has gym at 3. Like we put everything. Maybe we don't have to, but. And so what is the consequences of this? They're going to be exposed to bullying, hate speech, aggression. We know that. Mental health realities. The kids that say, but I can handle this. No, they cannot. They can't. They can't tackling this as if it's the wild, wild west. They can if they're given tools, which is what my whole point is. Really, it's interesting to see kids are chasing likes. In the gaming world, they're chasing that need to level up. If they're putting content out, they want it to be consumed. They want it to be viewed. It's very, very interesting. Depression's up, self-harm is up, suicidal ideation is up, and suicide is up. And all of this coincides with really social media. But the onset of technology. You take a young child with the brain development, the physical developments they're going through, and throw them into the online space with no parameters, and you're going to see consequences. Very, very interesting. We're seeing the online space create political views for young kids. We'll go in middle schools, and I'll have kids talk about politics in a way, I'm like, I didn't even know who the president was when I was in 6th grade. I really don't think I knew who the president was when I was in 6th grade. Now they not only know, but they have opinions, and they're very, very, very strong. This is interesting. Following what's gone on in Israel and Gaza, there is a request for parents to watch kids consuming very graphic content in TikTok and Instagram. Our kids are in this space. They're getting content and they're shaping ideologies and views from this material. It's really important, I think, that we talk to them about it. Other dangers, 40% of 8th graders, this was pre-COVID, were talking to strangers online. We know that number is much higher now. This is the one that kills me. During COVID, the online solicitation of minors went up by 93%. The FBI said that at any given moment, there's anywhere from 500,000 to 750,000 predators actively looking for at least 10 kids, 10 people, usually children. Kids are susceptible to malware, identity theft. Again, we talked about this desire to be consumed. This was an interesting study out of 2019. Kids 8 to 12, What would you like to be? An astronaut, musician, professional athlete, teacher, vlogger, YouTuber? Top choice for kids in the US and the UK was vlogger, YouTuber. Top by far. By far. So the point in showing all this is that this isn't something we can ignore. Addictions, the phone. I've talked to kids that will say, Mrs. Mankarios, excuse me, I think my phone is beeping. I think my phone's buzzing. I'll say, Lindsay, isn't your phone in the hallway with the backpacks, but you can feel it beeping? Oh yeah, I know, you're right, I guess it's in the hallway. That's an addiction. That's an addiction. They're addicted to the patterns, they're addicted to the technology, gaming, pornography, drugs, fentanyl, which I want to talk about for a sidebar here. They make themselves easy to be found. A lot of kids share their locations in real time all the time. Snap Map is showing where they are all day, or their other platforms show where they are. The photos that they take and post have the time and stamp and location on the photos. So we need to be looking at stuff like that. And I will say, I don't know if I can play this video. Oh, no, I can't. So this was a video that shows a timeline of fentanyl. This was 2014. It's right down here at about 35,000 deaths. By the time you get to 2022, it passes cocaine and is up by 250,000 overdoses. And that's not because all of a sudden all of our kids are addicted to opioids. It's because they have easy access now to this type of material. How does that happen? Drug dealers and pill pushers look for a SNAP score. The higher the SNAP score, the more sure they are that they're talking to a kid and not an undercover police officer. Because a lot of kids share their location, they know this kid is in a good area and has access to money, and then they start pushing the products on the children.
That's Snapchat.
Snapchat. Now, Dr. Laura Berman and Sam Chapman are trying to change laws to help curb this. It's very hard, but Sammy's law was just announced in California. We want to at least allow parent monitoring on Snapchat, Instagram, etc. Right now they're saying no, they don't allow it, but we're trying to change legislation. Pornography is a huge issue. 25 million websites, 2.5 billion emails, exposure as young as 8, sexual aggression, promiscuity, addiction. Nudes are the new first base. I don't know if when you and I were kids what the first base was. I always laugh, like my parents were so strict, I truly don't know what first base was ever. But now nudes are the new first base. That's where it starts. Have you sent nudes? Roblox. Do you guys have kids playing Roblox? Okay. Predators like Roblox because they have great access to kids. So it's something to keep in mind when your child's playing. What does your child's avatar look like? Who do they play with? Do they check the chats? Do they do private games with people? Those are all things to talk about. So now let's look at solutions. We know the problems are real. We need kids to have a plan. It's got to be based on your family values, but this is where I get into some of those 4 power tools. I'm telling you, you're not going to love everything I'm going to tell you, but I'm saying this for kids, okay? And when I talk to kids, I can see their faces changing because they're understanding things differently. When I go talk to kids and I show them this, I say, okay, guys, tell me what some of this means. And the boys will say, okay, that's Mercedes. I'll say, okay, talk to me about Mercedes. Well, it's a super high-end car. You know, usually you're going to see somebody like accomplished. They're going to look accomplished driving in a Mercedes. I say, okay. I'm curious, does Mercedes ever take like a guy or a girl that's been like working on landscaping and they have dirt everywhere and they're dragging mulch and they throw mulch in the car and it sprays through the beautiful Mercedes and then he gets in with his dirty nails and drives off and they're like, no, never. It's somebody so clean and so posh. I said, okay, interesting. So you're telling me Mercedes even thinks of the people that they use to identify their brand. Oh yeah, they do. So, all right, well what else? Well, Gucci's high-end, very high-end, so it's expensive. It's gonna be somebody, again, like probably a wealthy looking person. H&M is more casual. Nike is somebody really empowered, really strong. You're gonna see it and you're gonna wanna do something big. And I'll say, okay, I'm a mom of 3. I work like 90 million hours a week. If I like get home from work and I jump on in my bed and I have like a slushie dripping out of my mouth, my clothes ripping off, would I be a good Nike model? And they're like, no, Never. It's got to be somebody like just climbing a mountain. I say, all right, so they're thinking about everything. Well, what about, like, do they change this? Like, is it ever a check mark? Like no, it's always this way. Okay, well, that's interesting. That's interesting. What I'm trying to see if kids do, and they can, is they understand that this is a brand, and they understand when they really think about it, that as soon as you see a picture, you pretty much know what it stands for, what it thinks, who it wants to associate with, and what it wants you to think of it. They get that. I need our kids to think of themselves that way. And I know it's weird because our kids are not brands, but they are brands. Because every one of our children has a digital fingerprint. And every online engagement, I don't care if it's a game, I don't care if it's a private chat, I don't care if it's an online challenge, a social media post, I don't care what it is. It leaves this impression and it lasts. And it tells people who they are, what they stand for, what they're going to be. I need our kids to look at the biggest businesses in the world and emulate some of the positive characteristics they put into defining themselves, and it lasts throughout time, and it lasts no matter where they are. Now, to get a child to do this, we need to know why they're in that space and what they want to accomplish. Some kids will say, I'm only online because I'm shy at school, and it's my only way to engage, or I just like to play with friends. Others will say, I think I'm really, really talented at tennis, and I need a public profile, and I need schools to see me. Great. All of it, great, 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 great. We just need to understand why are they there, what are they hoping to get out of that, and who do they want to be in this space? Because every impression creates their brand. When I did the book, I did this study, 100 kids, 12 to 25. I asked them, I said, do you think people form opinions of you based on what you post, comment, like, or share? And they were like, no. I post anything, I comment, if my best friend, I like it. No. I said, okay, that's fair. I said, do you form opinions of others based on what they post, comment, like, or share? Oh, yes, all day, every day, all the time. So we're kind of branding people, and we need to realize that we are being branded as well. Good or bad, let's take it for the value it provides a young mind trying to navigate a really large gray space. What is your avatar going to look like when you're on Roblox? What is your username going to be? Is Sexy Kitten 2010 the best username? Maybe not. Do you really want to lie about your birthday on a platform that you want to grow with you through? Do you really want to comment on that? Do you really want to post? It helps them rethink it. And then as we talk really to kids, we say to kind of help really hone in on this, and every action in this really massive, large, big, gray space of online, they're a participant, they're an enabler, they're a bystander, they're a disruptor. They're the person doing the action. There's somebody applauding an action. They're saying, I'm not getting involved, I'll just stay quiet. Or they're saying, this is wrong. I'm not participating in this. And when you get kids to think about it, it kind of gets them to start thinking differently about their behavior. This is a post of 3 girls saying, are we model pretty, popular pretty, or natural pretty? Well, all the comments are, you're pretty desperate. Where's the cringe button? What kind of pick-me trend is this? Pick me meaning how desperate are you? About to call me a racial slur pretty. Pick me pretty, which is, that's a skeleton. What in the pick me? All right, well, let's get young kids to think about this. Who's a participant in a negative way? Who's applauding this? Who's an enabler or who's a disruptor? When you really get them to think about it, those are bullying comments. I'm kind of forming an opinion that this person is a little aggressive and a little negative. And all the 5,000 likes, the 8,000 likes, these enablers are not that different. So this is strange, but kids say, well, I guess I never really thought about that. I never thought about that. This one is fascinating to show, especially young girls, because there's a whole world going on with Justin Bieber, Hailey Bieber, Selena Gomez. It's very, 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 very deeply rooted. So but it's interesting to show that. So a disruptor, Charlie D'Amelio says, why don't we all just be respectful and understanding, uplift each other? This is a disruptor with 1.5 thousand participants and positive enablers. Selena Gomez was also a disruptor, posting something positive. We shouldn't be bullying. We shouldn't be hurting people. You might say, I don't want my kids to be like any of the people on this screen. Listen, I agree with you. I don't either. But our kids identify. They know who they are. And I want them to think about, do you think Harry Styles just threw this on his own? No, he had a whole team that picked that out for him. Do you think Taylor Swift just pulled this out of some closet? No, there was an entire team. There's a whole theory and mastermind and brand that goes into how people present themselves wherever they are. And we want kids to kind of think of themselves the same way. Now, depending on why they're on that space and what they want, it's going to define who is in their community. They might say, as I said, I want to have a public profile. I like gaming with other people. I'm chatting. It's fun. Blah, blah. That's fine. I'm not saying it's bad. But they're going to cast a wide net. Great. But we need to think about who's in that net. It's your best friend. It's mom and dad who love you so much. It's the best friend today that turns into an enemy tomorrow. It's a boyfriend today that loves you but doesn't like you tomorrow. It's a predator. It's somebody that's looking to extort you. It's a future coach, a future blah, 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 a future boss. We've got them to start thinking about who's in their community. And then 3, this was one of the hardest parts to write, but the most important. I need every child to have an exit strategy, because there are things coming at our kids externally. Hey, buy this pill, take the nude, do the online challenge, take the selfie. External stuff coming at them. But then there's also internal stuff. There are kids sitting home alone. No one's even talking to them. But they're thinking, this is the 3rd Friday I've been home alone and not one person's called me. Or I'm following blah, 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 and she's so perfect, and I don't have a boyfriend. I don't even have good friends, and every time I try to play this game, I lose. I'm telling you, these are things that kids really think about. And then internally, with nobody even talking to them, they start to feel depressed. They could even have suicidal thoughts or commit suicide. So I want kids to have an exit strategy. I want them to know what can be coming at them, and I want them to know what they can be feeling inside so that they can know it. We can't hide things from our kids, that they can recognize it and say, wait a minute, no, I'm actually not going to take the selfie. I'm not going to send you the nude. I'm not going to do the online challenge. I'm not going. Or, wait, why am I thinking this way? Why am I thinking this way? Let me put this into perspective, and they can block the threat. It's very simple, but when you actually give kids the benefit of talking through this, it provides a tool. And then this one, you're not going to like it, but I'm talking to kids. I want every kid to post like a celebrity. Now, I was in a high school 11th and 12th graders when I was really honing in on this concept. And the teachers let me have the kids pull out their phone. I said, all right, guys, pull out your phone. All of you have Instagram. And they're like, all right, finally, this woman is entertaining and making sense. Okay, this is something good. Pull out their phone, pull up Instagram. I say, pull out your favorite celebrity, your favorite influencer, your favorite sports athlete, musician. The kids are pulling them out. They're excited. I said, all right, raise your hand the moment you can get me a home address. Not one of them flinched. Okay. They go through their phone. They start looking. Say, oh, well, I can't get a home. I don't see a home address. I don't see a home outside of a home where I can get a number. That's okay. I said, all right, that's fine. Usually they drive great cars. They're usually pretty wealthy and they drive great. Just get me a license plate number. And you see like the one kid say, oh, I know exactly what post because he just got the greatest G-Wagon and there's a picture of him in front of the G. Oh, I just realized he's standing in front of the license plate. That's interesting. Okay. Well, they represent brands and they have businesses. Like, what is the business? I want to know just the exact business. I'm not too proud to say, I really would love to see Taylor Swift pull up into her parking spot at her business. I really would. What is the business? And they go and they start and look and they say, gosh, there's nothing. I say, interesting. Because what you guys, meaning our kids, fail to see is that people that are online and engaging, even there was a young boy in spring who made a $28 million a year, Ryan, from opening toys. Do you guys remember him? You couldn't find him if we work with the news every day. None of us could find him. You could not find Ryan. You could not. Because these people that decide to be online have actually made their safety their number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 priority. They make it impossible for you to find them. They're not sharing their location in real time. They're not on Snap Map showing you them at school, them at cheer. them at the popcorn factory saying, alone, closing all night, you know, like closing all night, alone, all night, blah, blah, blah. They don't do that. Now, I'll have some kid, and this is the state of America, that will say, well, Miss Mancarios, what about the Kardashians? They post in real time. Great question. But last I checked, the Kardashians walk around with 1 or 2 security teams. And last I checked, little Lindsay, you don't. You don't. So if we want to engage in this space, and all of our kids are going to interface with technology, celebrities don't have, I'm not talking about the value system, I'm not talking about aspirations, I'm saying to learn from the positive posting habits that make sure they're safe because our kids can understand it. I left that school, they launched a Post Like a Celebrity campaign, and they understood. I'm not telling you to stay off technology. I'm not saying keep away from it. I'm saying make sure your safety is top of mind, and they get it. So this is a video I show kids, but I'll skip it for now. Just basic information. Our goal at Crime Stoppers is to talk about real life in real time. And yes, big picture, we understand the dangers that come, and we'd love for all kids to be using technology sparingly or stay away from it, but it's not realistic right now. So if we can create any tools that they understand to keep them safe 8 and up, that's our goal. If there's one thing you walk away with tonight, talk to your kids about what they're doing. Passwords for every gadget they're on. Location services off, please. I don't think they need to share their location with every single friend and every single contact. And then Crime Stoppers is here if you need anything. Yes. Yes, 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 please. Never send inappropriate photos. I mean, this is just sort of a summary. But any questions about anything? And thank you very much for having me, by the way. Thank you.